All right, y'all. What's up? I told you guys I was going to try to start doing more content like this again. I know it's been a while. It's something I want to get back into. And I was just laying in bed a little bit ago. I know it's really early in the morning. And I just saw a lot of stuff on, especially with how the NBA has been going recently, about the GOAT conversation again. So I thought I'd make a video where I go through the three main sports that I focus on, the three main sports that are like kind of, dearest to me that I've kind of grew up watching and playing, and we're gonna go through my GOAT list. If you guys, have different lists, if you guys think that my lists are the best, you think my lists are the worst, drop a comment. Let me know what y'all think. Let me all know if you would change anything. And most importantly, please, please, please hit the subscribe button, guys, to get more notifications of when I do videos. I want to start doing more sports content again. I know I'm going to be doing my draft mock prediction for the NFL coming up, and then I'm also going to be doing March Madness predictions, I think, here soon. I'm also going to do NBA playoff brackets. So yeah, I'm going to try to start getting more into sports content again. That is something that I'm really passionate about, something that I miss doing. It's just something I want to start getting back into. But today, like I said, we are doing the GOAT conversations. Now, for the NFL, I am just going to do QBs right now, because I think that the NFL is really hard because there's so many different positions. With the NBA, there's five positions, so you can kind of go in order if you want. But I think that, with the NFL, we're going to do QBs right now. If you guys want to see running backs, if you guys want to see receivers, you guys want to see DBs, drop a comment. Let me know which one I should do next. And yeah, I appreciate you guys watching as always, but let's go ahead and get into the tier rankings. Now, my list may be controversial to most, and that's fine, especially when we get in the NBA section. For the NBA, I will probably do a top 10 just so y'all can kind of see where I place people. Now, again, I'm going to get a lot of hate for my NBA list. That's fine. That's totally, it's personal opinion. If y'all hate it, drop a comment. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know what y'all would change. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to start off with the NFL. Now, if this is the one that should just be the most obvious, there's no way that y'all should feel any different. If you don't have Tom Brady as the greatest QB to ever play the game, y'all are on crack. I'm sorry. Tom Brady, as much as I hate the man as a Giants fan, and as much as I hated seeing him win so much just because it always meant my team wasn't winning, he is easily the greatest player to ever pick up a football when it comes to the QB position. His just IQ of the game, his awareness, his just intellect as the position as a whole, the way he influenced the position, the way that he was able to play against multiple generations and still be a top tier player just shows the amount of skill he had. He started in a generation where most players were like him, where it was a lot of pocket passing. But then, as you saw, we got to that kind of early 2000s to, late kind of like the 2010s. You had people like Michael Vick. You had people like Cam Newton. You had people that were starting to become scrambling quarterbacks, and he still stayed Tom Brady. He was still a very slow pocket passer, and he still won Super Bowls. Then you saw us start to go towards people like Russell Wilson, who was a dual threat quarterback. We saw people like Patrick Mahomes introduced into the league, Josh Allen. We see Lamar Jackson. We see all these people, Kyler Murray, that were introduced into the league, and he still, once again, was one of the, honestly, until he kind of got near the end of his career, he was the best quarterback in the league for a lot of years. So there's no doubt in my mind it's going to take a lot to beat him. Now, I will say Patrick Mahomes is doing a fucking amazing job, but it's still going to take a lot to beat Tom Brady. My number two, and I think I'm going to get a lot of hate for this one, and I think a lot of people. I mean, I am a Giants fan. I'm not. It's not Eli Manning. I promise everybody, but it is the other Manning brother. I think Peyton Manning is just. He and Brady were just that kind of. If Peyton hadn't had such traumatic injury, I think he would have given Brady a run for his money. I think that just the injury with his neck, I think the injury where he had to have the surgery with his neck, and kind of that whole he lost feeling in his fingers on his right hand. That's why, for most people that don't know, he had to wear a glove when he was in Denver, because he didn't have feeling in his fingertips. And I think that kind of stopped him from elevating and becoming that next level. I mean, he still is the second greatest quarterback to pick up a football, but I think that that is what kept him from being the best was, all the injuries he went through. So, I mean, Peyton Manning speaks for himself. Yes, he only has 2 Super Bowls, but I think that when you look at the influence he had on the game as a whole and you look at what he was able to do, I mean, coming off an injury, getting, dropped from a team and being told that he was never going to be anything again and then throwing for over 5,000 yards in Denver, that's just something you don't see. And I think it's overlooked. So please, please don't ever sleep on Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning is easily one of the greatest players of all time. Sorry, I'm trying to move my monitor over here. There we go. So yeah, Peyton Manning for sure is there. Now we start getting a little bit. It gets harder here. Um, I think if I'm just looking again as a whole at the QB position, I'm gonna put Joe Montana at 3. Um, I think Joe Montana just again his resume speaks for himself. He's another one of those quarterbacks that was told he wouldn't be good enough, and then he went to Kansas City, and he became after he left San Francisco, and I think that he easily is going to stay a top 3 quarterback. It's going to be very, very hard to beat him. And I think that that's something that you have to look at when you look at people don't understand that the greatest of all time doesn't mean who has the most championships. It doesn't mean who has the most awards. It means as a whole, I think the greatest of all time is overlooked and it's just portrayed as something that is just awards and championships. But I think you have to look at the influence. I think you have to look at how other players viewed them. I think you have to look at what other players say. You have to realize these are the people that play against them. So if they are saying this is the greatest player, then I don't think that there's an argument. Now, I will admit some of them are kind of far-fetched. It kind of seems crazy, but I think that we have to look at you have to look at everything as a whole. If we're gonna continue down the list, again, this is where it just gets really freaking hard because my personal opinion, and again, I'm gonna get hate for it, but I don't care. I don't care because I think that he deserves it. I think that he is one of these players that gets overlooked and gets seen as he only won 1 Super Bowl, but look at his resume, and that is my man, Drew Brees. Now, fuck Purdue. Sorry, as an Indiana fan, fuck Purdue. But Drew Brees, you are arguably. Actually, I don't even think it's arguably. I think you are a top 5 quarterback of all time. Drew Brees, he's one of my favorite all-time players. He's just a good person. He's always been a very down-to-earth person. He's never been somebody who got lost in the fame. I mean, neither did, Peyton Manning really or any of those guys. Like, they're still very true to who they are, but, Drew Brees is a very big faith person. I mean, him and his wife have gone through a lot of stuff. Him and his wife have, obviously he went to New Orleans right after, Katrina happened. And, he kind of helped to rebuild that community and he did a lot of charity work and everything. So I think that it also just kind of shows who he is as a person. But also, I mean, the influence again he had on the game, right? He had an injury where most people said he would never come back from, kind of like Peyton, and he went on to a team and he ended up winning he won a Super Bowl, but he delivered the first Super Bowl to New Orleans ever, and in the process he beat Peyton Manning. So I mean, I think you have to look at that. I mean, Drew Brees, yeah, he's got 1 Super Bowl, but I mean, again, Drew Brees has set many records. He's one of the all-time passing leaders. And I think that he just gets overlooked as a quarterback as a whole. And I think that it's not fair to not put him in the top 5. I think that he's well deserving of it. Now my 5th, this is hard for me. So I have my list of top 10 here, and I don't have any specific order. So this is where it kind of gets hard. I might actually do my top 10 for QBs. My top 10 is just it's just hard to put them in any specific order, which is why I say the GOAT conversation is hard. If I'm gonna go for a 5 though, oh, This is just hard, man. I mean, there's just so many good QBs, but oh, good lord. Again, I think this is going to be a controversial pick, and that's okay. I will take any backlash that y'all may give me later. But yeah, I'm just gonna make sure out of everybody I have here. Uh, yeah, I think most people are gonna disagree with me, and that's okay. I personally think he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time, and I think he gets overlooked. But I'm gonna go with Dan Marino. And I kind of had Dan Marino floating between 5 and 6 just because of the other quarterback who I'm going to put at 6. I think that they're both really, really freaking close, and I think that they both had their fair share of accolades and their fair share of influence on the game. But I think that Dan Marino just barely pushes it out for me just because he's the way he played the game. I think he was that kind of first quarterback where you started to see um, how to describe it, kind of that all around insane. He could run. I feel like he could. I feel like he was a very hidden talent, and I think a lot of people underestimated that he could do a lot of things. Right? I mean, you look at Peyton, you look at Brady. They were pocket passers. Drew Brees was a pocket passer. Montana kind of could do a little bit of everything. So I mean, I guess you could say it there. But like, I feel like Dan Marino was just like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but I just feel like after seeing how he played with the Dolphins, seeing that, I mean, Drew Brees almost broke his passing record in a single season. He was like, what was it, 13 yards short or some shit? It was crazy. Um, you know, I think that Dan Marino just pushes it for me. Now, number 6 on my list is Terry Bradshaw, another person who I think deserves to be, or he needs to be given more credit than he's given. Um, and I think that it's overlooked because he was kind of at that beginning, like when the Super Bowl first kind of became a thing, right, with the Steelers. But I mean, if you look at that team, like if you look as a whole, um, I think that just Terry Bradshaw is overlooked as a quarterback, and I mean, I know he still does TV and stuff like that, and I know he's having a lot of problems now, but I still think he's kind of funny to listen to his predictions and stuff. Um, but if we're also gonna keep going down the list, and now again, this is where I'm gonna get, we're kind of going into it. Um, I honestly can't judge this because this is so long ago, and like I think if we look at the time period, I this is why I always say the Go conversation is hard because you have to look at time periods. These guys were all kind of like in the modern Super Bowl era, but like I feel like if you don't put, you know, my old man Johnny in here, I just don't think that it's a fair conversation. Oh, I forgot the age. um, I mean, this is a long, long time ago. We look at, he was with the Baltimore Colts, but I think that you have to put him in there. I mean, he had an amazing career, and he took the team places. And I think he had one of the best arms, in general when you look at a quarterback. So I mean, yes, it's very old school and it's kind of hard to judge based on modern era, but I think that it's not fair if you don't put him in there. Now, I'm definitely going to get hate for this, and I don't care. Number 8 is Aaron Rodgers. Now, I know everybody's going to say, "Oh, Aaron Rodgers, he's only got one Super Bowl," and "Oh, Aaron Rodgers, he hasn't done anything in the last 3 years." Yeah, but he's still Aaron fucking Rodgers, bro. Like if somebody said you get to pick Aaron Rodgers or like, you know, trying to like out of all the quarterbacks of his era, like don't get me wrong, there were some amazing quarterbacks. Like I said, Eli, I'm a Giants fan. I love Eli, but I think that as much as I am a Giants fan, Eli is an amazing quarterback, but I don't put him in my top 10. I think Aaron Rodgers is just his IQ is just amazing. It's off the charts. But if you look at Aaron Rodgers, you look at Big Ben, you look at Eli, um, You look at these quarterbacks from that time period. You know, it's honestly once Aaron Rodgers retires, it's the end of the era. I mean, it's the facts. I mean, it's already kind of there. Peyton's gone, Brady's gone, Eli's gone, Big Ben's gone. All these guys are gone, but like I feel like Aaron Rodgers is the last quarterback from that era. Once he leaves, it's a completely new era. Um, but and I think that he's just another underrated quarterback. I think that he's taken, he's won multiple MVPs. He was winning. He's like Brady, man. He was winning MVPs in his older age. He won in what 2021, 2020. So I mean, he's still an amazing quarterback, and I don't care what people say. I put him in my top 10. Number 9. This is tough for me. Out of the list I have here, out of the last remaining people I have, because I just looked, I miscount. I have 11 on my list. I don't have 10, but um, I feel like it's almost just you gotta. I'm trying to stay away from modern era players just because I feel like, I mean, if we're going just, if I am including modern era, I have to put Patrick Mahomes in here. Patrick Mahomes has already proved himself. He's got 3 Super Bowls. He's gone to what 3 Super Bowls in 5 years. He's won 3 Super Bowls in 5 years. He's only lost to the GOAT himself. So I don't think it's fair if we don't include him. But if we're not going modern era, I feel like next on the list I have to put. I feel like I have to put. I'm gonna say my 9 and 10 are changeable, but my 9 and 10 are Roger Starbuck, and I'm also gonna say John Elway. I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for the John Elway pick, but I think if you just he had an amazing career. I mean, he did end up going on to do some stuff in management, obviously with the Broncos. Still, I mean, that was a big part of the reason Peyton ended up signing there. But yeah, I think those are gonna be my. I always spell his last name wrong, so I always have to double check the spelling. Yeah, okay, I was right. So I'm gonna say my 9 and 10 are changeable. Kind of they can fluctuate, but for the NFL, this is my top 10. Um, I feel like there are a couple that we could see change. Like I can make a case for Joe and Peyton being switched. I can make a case for Johnny being higher than he is. But I feel like for overall, if I had to say, I feel like this is one of the most accurate. I feel like this is one of the most accurate lists I could have. Now again, personal opinion. For all I know, there could be somebody that's like Big Ben is number 2. Have at it, dog. If you're a Steelers fan, have at it. But for me, this is pretty set in stone. Now, this is where we're going to get controversial. And for all you out there that are about to roast me, I'll take it. But guess what? I'm sticking by this list that I'm about to make, and I'm totally okay with that. Number 1, I don't even care. Y'all can shut up. I don't give a fuck what you say about LeBron. Screw that. Michael Jordan is, and for most likely at this point will ever be, the GOAT. Michael Jordan is just, I mean, I'm sorry. If you go 6 for 6 in the finals, win 6 finals MVPs, you averaged better numbers in your rookie season than LeBron James did in his 2013 MVP season with the Miami Heat. You can't sit here and make arguments anymore. Players from multiple generations say that Michael Jordan is the GOAT. People that have played against him. Kobe, Iverson, Shaq, all these people who were around for multiple generations who have played against both Michael and LeBron have repeatedly said that Michael Jordan is the GOAT. Charles Barkley. I mean, if you just watch NBA, with the whole crew, Shaq, Ernie, they all say MJ is the GOAT, right? You look at people who have just, I mean, I know LeBron's going to say he's the GOAT, but I'm sorry, he's not. Now, where I told you this is going to get controversial, my number 2 is also not LeBron. I'm sorry, but there's only one person that was anywhere close to MJ's level, and MJ has already said it himself, and that is my man, Kobe Bryant. Now again, y'all are gonna hate me. Kobe's not even a top 5 player of all time. Yes, he is. 5 championships. He played 18 seasons. He not only did he win 4 championships to begin with, but he was told, he almost left LA because he didn't want to keep being in the shadows. He didn't want to keep sharing the spotlight with Shaq. And then Shaq left, and what did Kobe did? He came back and won another championship in LA. He is one of the biggest influences in, if you look overall for basketball. Like, we see the WNBA is coming up now. Again, I'm an Indiana fan, so I hate Iowa, but I give all the flowers in the world to Caitlin Clark for what she's done for women's basketball because personally, last year I'm a big supporter of college women's basketball and the WNBA. I hope it grows because I like to see the diversity in basketball. But I mean, I've been playing basketball since I was old enough to pick up a ball, and it is by far one of my all-time favorite sports, and I feel like I want that to keep growing. So to see Caitlin Clark, what she's been able to do for women's basketball is amazing. So all the props to her for what she's been able to do. Now, I hope Iowa loses, but props to Caitlin Clark. And it's things like that Kobe was one of the biggest supporters. I mean, RIP to him. Um, you know, it's crazy. I mean, I still remember where I was, what I was doing in that moment. I think a lot of people that were diehard basketball fans that grew up with Kobe, um, you know, you remember what happened on that day. January 26th of 2020 is not a day you're gonna forget, and it's crazy to think that it's been 4 years. Um, or not 4 years, 3 years, 2021. But because I mean, gosh, that would have been during COVID. That was right, kind of when everything kind of smack dab happened. I remember I was sitting in my couch. I mean, what? I was a junior in high school. Been a junior, yeah. I would have been a junior in high school. Um, no, I was a sophomore, so never mind. I'm sorry. It was 2020. Holy crap! It just time flies. Holy. I was sitting on my couch. Um, I was big into Rubik's cubes at that point, so I know I just ordered. My birthday had just happened, and I just ordered some Rubik's cubes, and I was sitting on the couch solving it. And I remember my stepmom walked downstairs, and she said, "I don't know if you heard, but Kobe Bryant was killed in a helicopter accident." And at the time, I thought that like it was, you see crap all the time, people faking celebrities' deaths, and oh, this person's dead. So at the time, I thought it was fake, but um, you know, come to find out it wasn't, and that was it was a rough moment. But I don't think that a lot of people are now like, oh, you just put Kobe in your top 5 because he's dead. No, Kobe has always been in my top 5. Kobe has always been up there because I feel like he is literally the closest thing that has ever been to Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan himself has already said, nobody is, there's nobody like Kobe Bryant. And Kobe Bryant has literally said the only person that's better than him is the person that he copied himself after and learned after and tried to be. And that was Michael Jordan. So I think that you have to put Kobe at 2. I think if you just look at what he's done for the game as a whole, I think if you look at the influence he's had, at the success he had, he was very loyal. He never left LA. He was a Laker. I mean, yes, he was drafted to the Hornets, but ever since he was a Laker, he never left that team. And I think that's dedication. And yeah, I mean, I will forever stand by Kobe as number 2. Number 3, you can make your arguments. You can talk about what you want. I feel like it's just really hard to pick because I have like a group of people again that I kind of just keep cycling through because it's like you have to look again. It's all about perspective. Bill Russell, you look at Bill Russell, you look at Kareem, you look at Wilt, you look at all these people that had so much success, but then you also look at how many crazy superstars were there around back then. Look at people like Oscar Robinson, people like that were averaging insane statistics, but like again, you have to look at the time period, and I feel like that's why it makes it so hard, and that's why there's so much controversy. But if I'm going straight number 3, I'm taking Wilt, and again, I think that a lot of people are going to give me shit for that pick, and I don't care. I feel like Wilt, I mean, he's the only player to get a 100-point game. I think I know everybody's, oh, he just played against Farmer. Yeah, but I mean, he's Wilt Chamberlain. I think he deserves everything he did. He's won championships. He's proven himself. Now, number 4. Now, I will say my top 5 is not my starting 5. Now, if somebody said, what's your starting 5 lineup? I kind of go back and forth, but I have my starting 5. I feel like if we're going based on who's going to be play best together as a team, totally different conversation. But in this case, at number 4, guys, this is so hard because I already know there's just like so many people. Like, I could literally make this list right now, and tomorrow I'll look at it and go, the top 2 are solidified. The top 2 will never change for me at this point. But after that, it's like 3 through 10 could, honest to God, just go all over. Um, After Wilt, I'm gonna say Kareem. I feel like Kareem is just. I feel like Kareem is just one of those picks. It's like, yeah, it makes sense. He's in your top 5. He's one of the greatest players to ever do it. He held the scoring record until recently. I feel like and I also want to point out, and this is why I can't get people to understand. LeBron James has played for 21 fucking seasons. He had a 3-point line, and he also played in a league that was very 3-point shooting heavy for the last part of his career. Now, the first part of his career, that was still like the Kobe era, so that was still the Allen Iverson. That was still, we're looking at like, that was still kind of the powerhouse, that was still Shaq at that point. Shaq was still kind of there at the beginning. You had Tim Duncan. You had these, Dirk. You had these like paint people that kind of got, but and I've seen this statistic and I've seen some, if you put all of oh my gosh, Kareem's shots on a chart, he would have hit 1 3-pointer in his entire career. 1 3-pointer, which means the rest of it was all 2-pointers and free throws. So Wilt Chamberlain had that amount of points with just 2-pointers. That is skill. I'm sorry. I don't care who you play against. That takes skill. So I think Kareem is just, he doesn't get enough credit. And, I mean, yeah, LeBron broke the record, but I'm sorry. And this is why I'm going to get hate. LeBron is not in my top 5. LeBron is barely in my top 10. And again, I get a lot of shit for that, and that's fine. But I think that you have to, I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's one of those things. People are going to, talk about it. But I think that it's one of those things. You can't argue it. And my number 5 is Bill Russell. And I know I got a lot of bigger guys in here. But Bill Russell, 13 championships, speaks for himself. I don't know what else you want to say. People say, again, he played against farmers. It doesn't matter. He's got 13 championships. He's part of a dynasty. He, was one of the best players of the generation. At number 6, after winning a Finals MVP and winning his 4th, it's cemented. He's the greatest point guard to ever play the game. Fucking Wardell, Stephen Curry. Steph is. I'm done debating this. Yes, I am a Warriors fan. I've been a Warriors fan. Now, before y'all say bandwagon, go ahead, say it if you want. But I've been a fan since 2013, the year before they went to the playoffs. Because as a kid, I grew up a Kobe fan. But, Kobe was still, it seemed like he was just superhuman, right? Like nobody could be Kobe, just like nobody could be Michael. And I think that Steph was that first player where, as a kid who was very small growing up, I was a little kid. I was not tall. I was not big. Like, I didn't hit 40 pounds until I was in, second or third grade. Like, I was small most of my life. And he was that person to where I could say, I could do that. I can shoot threes. I may not be big, but I can shoot. And he was an inspiration for kids that were younger and also for kids that were told they couldn't do it. So I have been a Warriors fan for almost 11 years now. And so call me bandwagon, but Stephen Curry is easily the greatest point guard to win. I love Magic. Magic is an amazing player, and he is in my top 10, but he is not the best point guard of all time anymore. I think it's time to move on from that. Steph has got 4 championships, 3 of them against LeBron James. He is the greatest 3-point shooter to ever live. He's one of the best ball handlers to ever live. He's got some of the best court vision I've ever seen. He is a great guy off the court. He's also just multi-sport talented. He's an amazing golfer. Um, he's also like Kobe. He's had such a major influence across the whole board, right? Like him and Sabrina this year doing the 3-point contest. I think his influence speaks for itself. So yes, in the conversation, I have Steph above LeBron. Now again, I'm gonna get hate for it. Go ahead, but LeBron has 4 rings. He's been on 3 super teams. Actually, 4 super teams. No, 3. I'll give him 3 super teams. He's been on 3 super teams. He I don't even count the bubble ring. I don't care what anybody says. I don't count the bubble ring. There was no fans. Half the other team's players was out with COVID. And it was I don't believe in it. I don't think the ring should count. I don't think that they should have even played that season. So in my opinion, LeBron has 3 rings. He couldn't even beat. He had a super team. And now everybody's going, what was the super team? Yeah, blah, blah. Well, when he was in Miami, that speaks for itself. Now, don't get me wrong. The Spurs were an amazing team then. Tim Duncan, Tony Parker. You had young Kawhi. But it was, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Bosh, Reggie Miller. Y'all forget about some of these people. Ray Allen. It was a super team. I'm sorry. Then he went back to Cleveland. Kevin Love was a good player then. Everybody's, Kevin Love was. Yes, he was. He was an all-star. He was a good player. You had Kyrie Irving, Tristan Thompson when he was an absolute ass, and LeBron. Right there, that's an insane starting 4, right? And then he went to LA because he tried to mask in Kobe's sin. I'm sorry, I don't care what anybody says. He tried. But he is not Kobe Bryant. And he had Anthony Davis. He had Russell Westbrook at one point. He has D'Angelo Russell now. I mean, he's tried to build another super team, and again, it's just ridiculous to see that he just hops from team to team in order to try. And I have always been an active person that will say LeBron is not the best, and I think that is just because he's never had to prove himself. He's never had to. He did it, and now I'll give him his flowers. He was a huge reason why that Cleveland team was successful before he went to Miami. His first couple of years. I'll give him that. But I also think that you have to you have to stick it out, right? Like Michael didn't hop ship after he didn't win championships in his first, six seasons. Kobe didn't hop ship after he didn't win in his first year or 2. Steph has never left the Warriors. Clay has never left the Warriors. You look at people like Dwayne Wade, who never left the Heat. You look at people who have stuck it out with their team from beginning of career to end of career and are some of the greatest players to ever live, right? I'm sorry, but LeBron just went where he thought where he could just build a team, a super team, and that's it, right? And I always like how people always say, no, like LeBron is the reason that, he brought the team together. No, he didn't. Think about it. Dwayne Wade was already in Miami. They had just won a ring with Shaq, so they didn't need LeBron. It wasn't like LeBron, they were like, oh gosh, we need LeBron to win a championship. Nope, Miami literally won right before LeBron joined. Cleveland, maybe. But I mean, Cleveland still had, Kyrie, Kevin Love. They still had a good team. And then you look at the Lakers, where he again wanted to go and he wanted to be a part of a team where he thought would get him the championship. And I understand everybody has that mentality. But Steph's got 4, just as many as LeBron, has played, what, 6 less seasons than LeBron? 7? 6? 6 or 7? I'm trying to remember. Steph's on his 14th year? Gosh. Yeah. 29, 2009. 15th year. So he's played 7 less seasons than LeBron. 6. I can't count today. Sorry, guys. I'm still tired. I'm off an energy drink right now. And he still won the same amount of championships? Like, you see what I'm saying? It's about how you build the dynasty. It's not about hopping ship. I feel like if you are a true GOAT, if you are somebody who is in the GOAT conversation, you had the biggest influence and you stuck it out. So Steph is going to be my 6. Number 7, this is where I'm going to put LeBron. Now, rightfully so, he deserves to be in the top 10, but I don't think he's a top 5 player. At number 8, I think that people are going to be surprised that I put him this low, but I think that I put him this low, but also, like I said, he can, like, tomorrow he could be my number 2. Or not my number 2, my number 3, number 4, number 5. But Shaq is just definitely in the conversation. And I know that people telling me I put him this low is probably there. I'm already can see the comments, oh, you shouldn't have put LeBron and Shaq that low. I'm sorry, but I'm going to. So I'm going to put Shaq at 8. I feel like that's respectable. And then to end out my top 10. See, this is hard because I feel like, without a doubt, Magic has to be number 9. I feel like Magic, I mean, yes. I just can't, you can't say there are many people that can play every position, and he did it his rookie year and won a ring. So I feel like Magic has to be in the conversation. Do I think he's the greatest point guard? No, because I feel like at 6'6", at that point, like, it was almost unfair. Like, nowadays, having a tall point guard isn't unnatural, I feel like, because you look at Luka, you look at SGA, those guys are, I mean, Luka's what, 6'6". I think SGA is maybe 6'5". I feel like he's 6'5". But yeah, you look at, there are some taller point guards. It's not uncommon. And then at number 10, oh my god, this is, like, difficult. Like, just because I think that he's the first person that really, really had an influence before Steph, I feel like you got to put Larry Bird in there. I feel like Larry Bird has to round out my top 10, and it's just because of the influence he had before Steph. Like, I feel like we look at, like, shooters back in the day, like, he kind of was what introduced that, and it was, and again, like, there are some people that are out of this top 10 list right now that I could kind of fluctuate in, right? Like Akeem Olajuwon, Kevin Durant. I don't care. He's the greatest pure shooter to ever play the game. I think Steph is the greatest 3-point shooter. I think you look at, there are some very good honorable mentions that I feel like, but like KD's just all around ability to shoot the ball is just uh, insane. But Hakeem Olajuwon, I feel like Dr. J has to be put in the top 20. Dr. J was a great one. Julius Erving, like I said, Julius Erving, Dr. J. But like Hakeem, Kevin, who else would I put kind of in that top couple of honorable mentions? I mean, Oscar's obviously in there. Like I said, Oscar. Honestly, I could see myself putting Oscar back in my top 5. Like, all these guys just fluctuate. That's why it's so hard to pick. Because it's like you could just, any given day, it could change. I actually wouldn't be opposed to doing that. I wouldn't be opposed to actually taking Larry as an honorable mention. I think I would put Magic at 10. Okay, we got Shaq. I'm going to put Oscar here. And then I'm going to put Magic here. I feel like that's better. Yeah, I feel like that's a better list. I feel more comfortable with this list. And then honorable mentions: Larry Bird, Kevin Durant, Akeem Olajuwon, um, Larry Bird. Um, I feel like there are some good players that were kind of underlooked and possibly people. I mean, like I said, I've seen Larry Bird in people's top five. I totally understand it. But again, I feel like you just have to look. The GOAT conversation is not just about awards and statistics. The GOAT conversation is about influence. It's about, yes, I would say that statistics and awards definitely should help factor into it, but I don't think you should determine GOATs just based on stats. Because stats only represent one side. And as somebody who, I feel like you have to look at the way they play the game. I think you have to look at the way people look at them, players view them, the difficulty players go through. Like, I think you look at people like Allen Iverson has come out and said, playing against people like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, like you never knew what was going to happen. He could drop 70 on you one game, and then you're always guessing. Is he going to drop 40, 50, what? De'Aaron Fox came out a couple, during the playoffs last year and said, you saw that clip about people talking about what it's like to guard Steph. That shit's real. Like, Steph is one of the hardest people to guard in the game because he isn't just good at one thing. He can shoot. He's got some of the best off-ball movement. He never gets tired. Like, he's a great player. Kobe, you could double team that motherfucker, and he would still fade away and swish that shit. LeBron, he's a very, very aggressive person, and I think that's something that's kind of getting out of the league now, unless you're bigger. Like, it's a lot more of a shooting league rather than, when Kobe and them played. Like, LeBron still is that last bit of physicality that's really in the game. But, I mean, honorable mentions that I think that they've already solidified that. You have to look at Giannis, too. I mean, Giannis is insane. Jokic is already going to... I feel like in the next year or two, Jokic could honestly be in my top five. Jokic is proven to be insane. Joel Embiid is starting to get in there. I feel like Kyrie Irving is a great honorable mention. Gosh. There's just so many people that you could just fluctuate in and out of this. So, again, it's a personal opinion. But we're going to move on so this video isn't insanely long. Y'all would, But next on to football, which is, again, probably my favorite sport to play if I had to pick one just in general. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love basketball, but I feel like just I had the most fun playing football, because it was like a different experience for me. If somebody throws a basketball at me, I'll pull up on a court, but I feel like soccer was just a new experience for me, and it kind of allowed me to develop better, athletic skills because I played basketball pretty much my whole life, and that was really the only main sport I played. I was really small, so it was really hard to play like football and stuff because like I was 40 pounds in third grade, and there were kids that were already 80, 90 pounds. So, it was hard being a really small guy, or a small kid playing football. So I didn't really enjoy it as much. But like basketball and soccer, I really got into. I was really good at soccer at a young age, and I feel like it also made it more fun. I was playing, at the age of 12 with 17, 18-year-olds because that was just, in my rec leagues because I was good enough to be up there. And it was, it was a sport that was really fun. So this sport has a lot of meaning to me. Now, again, these are my personal opinions. Just going to clarify that now because, again, I've seen the comment sections on some of these people that have done GOAT conversations. Y'all are ruthless. Like, ruthless. So, take it easy, folks. Number one, I will die on this hill. This has been my favorite soccer player since I've started playing soccer at the age of 8. That is Lionel Messi. He is easily the greatest player to ever play. He cemented it with the World Cup win. He is the greatest player to ever play. He has done it on an elite level for so long. He submitted himself. Lionel Messi is easily the greatest player to ever play. Now, again, I have a list over here of my top players that I would say of all time. Now, again, some of y'all are gonna say, no, this is not right. Blah 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 blah. This person should be here. Well, we'll see what you say after the list. Number two, I feel like again, it's not even fair if you don't put him in here. R.I.P. to who, in my opinion, was the GOAT before Messi won the World Cup, and that is Pele. I think Pele is just one of those names that if you know anything about soccer, you've heard. Same with Messi, and same with who I'm going to put at number three. As much as um, as much as I hate to put this next person at number three, as a Messi fan, he has again played at the game at an elite level for so long. He doesn't have the World Cup, but I think that he's still an all-around great player. He's again just done it for so long, and that's Cristiano Ronaldo. I feel like even if you hate him, you got to put him in your top five at least. I mean, I don't think he's out of most people's top three, two or three, but he's number three. Again, another great all-around player. Now, again, I grew up a Messi fan, so that means I grew up a Barcelona fan, and I still to this day am a Barcelona fan. But I remember this part of Barcelona when I first got into soccer. I would go back watch old Barcelona play too, and I feel like he again, played alongside, and I feel like again another Barcelona. I mean, yes, again, you're gonna say, oh, you might be biased. No, I'm not, but I feel like he is just. I feel like he also was one of those players that. How do I even say this? Like Messi was one of those players again, like Steph, where it was like I can see myself being him because he was small. Messi could have died had Barcelona not paid for the injections that he needed because and I think that that's something that like people could strive to be like, oh, I can do this. He could do it. I could do it. But I feel like you know he influenced the midfield position in a way because he again did it for so long. And I feel like he was a very aggressive midfielder too, which I like. I played striker, but I mean, yeah, I'm gonna be honest. This is a little bit of a biased pick, but I feel like a lot of people do have him in their top five, so I'm not too upset with it. Now number five, I feel like there are two. And I'm just gonna go ahead and put Slash here because literally these two are even for me. I don't have. I mean, my top five when it comes to soccer is pretty damn straightforward. Like I feel like most people would agree this is the top five list. And that's why I'm gonna say Ronaldo and Diego Maradona is easily. I think that that's kind of the top five, and I really have a hard time separating. So I'm just gonna put a slash here. I feel like it's only fair. I feel like these two I can't say one's five and one's six. They're both five for me at least. I've got six people in my top five, but these two I'm counting in one slot. So I feel like this is pretty good. I'm not gonna do top 10 for football because a lot of people probably will start to not even know who some of these players are. I feel like most people, if you just know anything about basketball, know these 10 people, and if you know anything about football, you know these 10 people. But unfortunately, I feel like outside the United States, soccer is the popular sport, but I feel like in the United States, most people don't know about it much anymore. Um, but yeah, I mean, let's go through my list. I'll give some honorable mentions for people who may know. Um, trying to think of names that y'all might know. I mean, obviously, I feel like you got to put David Beckham in there. Most people know who that is because he played in England, but he also is here in the United States. He played for the Galaxy. Neymar, I don't care what most people say. It's time to start considering him one of the best. He's got some of the most assists. He actually, if you look at his stats compared to Messi and Ronaldo, like Cristiano Ronaldo, he's pretty damn close. Like, I think he's got more assists than Ronaldo, and I think he's close to assist on Messi. It's weird. Like he's like those three could honestly be all in the top five. I wouldn't be shocked. I could see by the end of his career, I could see Neymar going into the top five. Not gonna lie. Andre Iniesta, another Barcelona legend. Like that Barcelona team was so stacked with Messi, Sergio Roberto, Busquets, Neymar, Luis Suarez came in late, but I mean, I wouldn't put him up there. But you've got PK. I'm putting PK in my top 10. He's an honorable mention. I feel like you've got also when it comes to MLS, I'm a Red Bulls fan just because I grew up again like Thierry Henry was one of my favorites. Another English legend. Um, trying to think of some other names on my list that y'all might know. Giroud, of course, easily. I mean, Luis Suarez, I would put. I just maybe in my top 20, maybe top 25, but I wouldn't put him crazy high. Um, you know who I am gonna put up there just because of the career he's already had and the insane skill he has is Mbappe. He's not my. I just don't think he's played long enough to be able to like. He's kind of like what I like to say in the NBA is like a Luka and shit. Like Luka is insane. Jokic is cracked. But I feel like they just need to keep going, keep going. If you keep performing, you're insane. Like it's criminal. Um, yeah, I think those are some really good honorable mentions to put on my list. Um, yeah, I feel like okay, so we're gonna end it here just because I know this has already been a long video. I ramble when I'm on recordings just because these are things I like to talk about and I like to deep dive into because I feel like people don't explain things enough when it comes to stuff like this. So it was a way for me to finally explain my lists. Yeah, I'm gonna do some other content. I'm not just gonna do sports. I'm gonna try to get back into I want to do reaction videos. I want to do I mean music has always been a big part of my life, so I kind of want to start doing not necessarily just music reactions, but also like music dissections. Some of my favorite artists, some of my favorite songs. If there's anything you guys want me to react to, if you guys want me to do a video on, if there's any specific topics, whether it's sports, music, movies, stuff like that, y'all let me know. Really, this is one of those things where I am open to do so much different types of content. I want to just explore content creation in general. I feel like it's something that's got so many different opportunities to explore, and there's so many different people out there with different interests. I want to try to attack as many of those as I can because I feel like applying to multiple different audiences allows you to meet new people, allows you to get people involved in different things. Somebody may be watching me for my sports content, but then they may see, oh, he plays a video game I play, or oh, he listens to the same type of music I play, and I think it's a way for people to just connect on a different, you may not know who I am in person, you may never meet me in person, but we can, you may put a comment and be like, yo, bro, that's cool, whatever. I read those comments because I feel like it's a good way to meet people, it's a good way to interact with people, but it's also a good way to help people find common interest and just connect with people. So I will always be a big fan of if you guys have any content, feel free to send me messages. I'll put my Twitter. My Discord is going to be in the description as well. I'm going to have all of that down below. Please let me know if there's anything you guys want, or if there's anything you guys want to see from me. But other than that, yeah, guys, I really appreciate y'all, watching. If you watch till the end, I appreciate you guys. Like I said, I'm gonna try to do my mock drafts here in the next coming week or so. I'm gonna go ahead and start my dissections. I've already kind of started. Like I've done my QB dissections for the most part. So I've already kind of got that tier list. But we are gonna go through that. Like I said, we'll do some other content. Like I know that I did a like guess the lyric and stuff. That was very popular for like in the recent times. So yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling now before this video gets increasingly longer. But again, appreciate you guys. Make sure to hit the like button if you like the conversation here. If you guys have anything that y'all disagreed with or you agreed with, drop it in the comments. I read all of them. I'll reply to every single one if it's something that requires a response or I seem is deemed necessary for a response. So, but I appreciate you guys. Please hit the like button, subscribe, make sure to share the video with other people that are interested. And yeah, guys, I appreciate you, and I will catch you guys for the next video. Peace.